Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to Be with Mike G, the show of life, the show of LA, the show of education, Irish whiskey community, and so much more. Today we chat with the most recent addition to the Tullamore Dew team at William Grant & Sons, Miss Donna Stewart. We recently sat down and chatted at the San Antonio Cocktail Conference, and we talked about life. We talked about this great opportunity with Tullamore Dew, drinking Irish coffees. And we just had St. Patrick's Day, so Tully is on my mind, and there's so much green to go around. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this great chat with Donna Stewart from Tullamore Dew.
Heavy cream, lightly whipped. And it has to be cold, sitting on the top. Yeah. It is the most delicious cocktail. Like, for me, and I'm not, like, I don't have a preference just because, like, I work for whiskey, like, or I'm Irish, by the way.
Wait, you are? I thought Stewart was a Scottish last name.
It actually is, but I'm not Scottish at all, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because I checked it out. But, yeah, Irish coffee is the way to go for me. And I had, like, one too many yesterday. I was serving them yesterday morning in the lobby.
There is a point at which it's a law of diminishing rewards, I think is what you call it. I'm thinking around 4. That may be too many. What is it for you? How much caffeine you?
I think if you're doing those small ones, the little perfect you know, the little tulip glasses. Yeah. For me, I could probably do 4 of them.
That's pretty. I think that sounds good.
But those big like mugs with the handle.
Ooh.
I could probably, I'd say after 3, I'd get a headache. And I did once in Galway. I went there and I was just loving the Irish coffees because there's something that they do differently in Ireland. So they all have a coffee machine behind the bar.
Okay.
And it's like, it's an espresso machine and stuff. But what the kind of coffee that they make, it's not filtered coffee and it's not an Americano.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know what they would call it. They just call it coffee, but I don't know what we would call it here. It's like the beans blend and out comes this like fresh made full cup of coffee.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and then, but it's so strong. So then they add the whiskey and then they obviously make it properly and it's delicious. Yeah. So I'm sitting in Galway, have one, have another one. I go to the bathroom. My boyfriend orders me another one. And I was like, by the end of the night, like I was literally shaking. There is a balance.
It's tough.
You know, I'd be interested to try like, what about a decaf Irish coffee?
I mean, all right, I don't want to say it's sacrilege, but could very well be sacrilege.
Yeah, I know. Some people would stab me for saying that now.
But you know what I like? I like the fact that you take this really strong coffee. You can dilute it any way you want. You can use water, you could use cream. But no, let's use whiskey to dilute it.
Yeah.
This is why the Irish, they're so keen and they're so strategic with their products, right? Because
they know their stuff.
They do, and I've been eating a lot of butter lately, but Irish butter, and I can't get over it because it's like I've forever fallen in love with the flavor of it.
There's really nothing like Kerrygold Irish butter.
That's right, and a little bit of spinach and eggs and like all this stuff.
Anything.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people in Ireland use it to cook everything, right? So like instead of oil.
Yeah.
And it really elevates whatever you are eating.
Dude, it's like steroids.
Yeah.
You're like an okay player. But you put that Kerrygold butter in it. That shit it's all-star. And I'm not, this is true. I'm not, I could be kowtowing or sucking up to the Tully ambassador, but it's no secret that it's the best butter on earth.
It is the best butter on earth. You know, when people go and get like those allergy tests, right? And they say you have to avoid dairy. Everybody almost has said to me, except Kerrygold butter.
Really?
Yeah. Because I got it, like they told me I couldn't do dairy, right? I still like cheat all the time,
sure.
But the girl said to me, but you can have Kerrygold. And my friend just said to me the other day, I can't have dairy, but I can have Kerrygold. And I was like, that is interesting.
Oh, I like that a lot.
And you know, when Kerrygold wasn't like always as widely available here. So like now you can get it kind of in all the major
yeah,
stores.
for sure.
But it wasn't when I first got here. I've been here for like almost 8 years. And my mom used to freeze it and put it in her suitcase and take it over to me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I always have a little.
You know, it's like how mezcal was. People just bring it over in their suitcase.
Totally.
And stuff, right? Well, so, you know, I've read through the bio, and then, you know, you're kind of new to the role with William Grandson, which is great. You're here in San Antonio, which is, you know, would explain all of the noises surrounding us that we're engulfed with. But this is a beautiful day. We got this nice view out of the window. But this whole story starts in Boston. So you're born, and not raised in Boston, but born. How long were you living there?
So I was born in Boston, lived there till I was 2.
Okay.
My parents had lived there for about 8 years, I believe. And then they had my older sister, Kelly, and then they had me.
Yeah.
And we moved back when I was 2, back to Ireland, back to Dublin. And I kind of grew up on these stories of the fun days that they had in Boston. Because pretty much everybody in my mom's town went to Boston to Somerville.
What brought them to Boston in the first place? Like, what are they doing?
Well, you know, economically it was pretty bad in Ireland at the time.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of going somewhere, whether it was England or off to work, right? And it wasn't that easy to go to America, but it was a little bit easier back then.
Yeah.
And my great-granddad fought in the war, and he got American citizenship for that.
Oh, great. Okay.
So my granddad, on my mom's side, went over to America in the 80s. Things are bad in Ireland. He can't get any work.
Yeah.
Wants to go over there and do construction, and he applies for a visa through his father and gets it because it was so easy back then. And then my mom went, and all of his children. So what happened was the entire family, so my mom has 4 siblings, and my nana and granddad moved over to Boston. There was like 30 of them living in a house, and like all the neighbors, everybody from the same town. That's a real typical Irish thing.
Well, it's a sitcom waiting to happen.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you if you guys had filmed anything.
Totally, right? That would have been a great show.
Yeah.
So
just the 30 of us? Is that what you would call it?
Yeah. In like 2-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
In humid Boston.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
But the stories they told me of that, like just think of that, all the people in the apartment and the parties they had, and they all were working 2-3 jobs and just kind of getting by, and it was so much fun. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go to America, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a blue passport, so I was like, I'm definitely gonna use this. So eventually I finished college at 20.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty young.
yeah. Actually, it is kind of weird.
Dublin City University, is that right?
Yeah,
University of
DCU, right? So you start when you're 17, unless you started primary school a little bit late, right?
Okay.
But usually you're about 17 when you finish secondary school, we call it, which is high school here. And then you go on to college pretty much straight on. And I did a business degree, and there was an optional 4th year where you go do a work away. And I didn't do the optional year because I knew I was going to go away and work anyways.
Sure.
So I finished, it was just a business degree, finished that at 20, didn't know what I was going to go do.
So coming from a very large and in charge family, does going to uni, is that something that was an expectation? Did your folks do that? Was that just a common thing? Or you break the mold with it?
The only person in my family before me to go to college was my uncle Terry on my mom's side. Well, now there's people on my dad's side, I think. I don't know for sure. But on my mom's side, only my Uncle Terry. He went to Trinity actually kind of as a mature student, so
really
later in life. So there was not any expectations for me to go to college.
So what separates you? Where does this ambition come from, or this kind of, because you're studying business, you're studying marketing, these kinds of things? Like what was the impetus for you to go?
I was just always, I loved school. I loved academia. I loved school.
Oh, man.
Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't like a geek, right? I was one of those people.
Sure, of course.
I was one of those people who was kind of like, kind of getting the top grades, like, not like the best in the class, but I was like the second level of people. So I was always getting like my grades good, but I was also getting pulled out of class for talking, messing, hopping off school, going on the hop, we call it in Ireland.
What's the hop? Does that just mean ditching school?
Yeah, it means ditching.
I like hop better than ditch. Ditch sounds work, because that's where people end up.
You'd be like walking to school, your school bag, and be like, we go on the hop.
See, this is something. The amount of vocabulary I've been able to amass from these guests, from these just internationally.
I can't even imagine.
I can adapt to any situation now. I can talk about Buddhism and spirituality because I interviewed Mattias. We can talk about tapestries now, and teas.
Oh, he knows his stuff.
I'm taking the piss, right? But that's good. So, okay, so you've got this thing. You finish at 20. You've got some tools at your disposal, if you think about it. So what's next then for you? What's going on in your head?
Oh, God, it's a long story. Well, before I left, right, I was a bit of a worker bee as well.
Yeah.
So I started working when I was 14, which was against the rules. You're supposed to be 15, but
you were 15, right? Yeah, just in case.
I was working at this place called Kids Own Me, and all my friends started working there.
Yeah.
And I was like a party host because I had to have my own money, had to have my independence. Like there was a point, it was probably when I was about 12 or 13, I was like, Mom won't give me 10 euros. Like I'm going to get it myself, So I kind of came from a family of like everybody kind of hustles.
Yeah.
So just because, they didn't go to school, my parents, but like my dad has been in construction. Like he built my house. He can make anything that you can think of.
Amazing.
We kind of were spoiled. Like when we were young, I'd be like, Dad, will you build me a wardrobe that has a desk in it and I can like put all the stuff on, put shelves on the top and have a sliding door and have a mirror here. Like, and Dad'd be like, okay.
That's a hell of a skill to have.
Yeah.
All I've got are people that can make me a drink. Like I don't have anyone with like advanced skills in my life.
Oh, I'll introduce you to my dad.
Perfect. My deck's getting a little croaky, so I think I need it refinished. But we'll talk later on rates and everything.
Yeah.
But so you got to hustle, and I love that because that's a different philosophy. That's a different paradigm than the States in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because, in Ireland, not everybody before me, right, had gone to college, but college is offered free in Ireland, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so like you have to pay like a small tuition fee.
Sure.
But pretty much it's like comped, right?
Oh man.
So so we were like always, I kind of knew that I could go for free, so I was like, oh, you know what? I'll go to college. But in America, it's like so expected, which is kind of interesting for me because it's so expensive.
Well, that seems a little unfair, right? Because it's like, no, you should go to college. Well, wait, so you're saying that because you want to get an education because you want to make money for a long time?
Yeah.
And so it's a little duplicitous.
I think, and like, no matter how much I loved school, I just think coming from my Irish state of mind, if I had to pay what you guys have to pay for college, I don't know if I would end up going.
And what about advanced degrees? So do you call them masters there? That's kind of
masters?
Yeah. Is that still discounted? Or
you have to pay for a master's.
Okay.
But it's not nearly as much as a master's here.
Yeah, I remember. I'm still a little. You see these wrinkles in my eyes? This is from that fucking master's I spent so much money on. It's
dude, I can't even.
It's crazy.
And people pay it off for the rest of their life. That for me is like hard to wrap my head around. I'm very, very fortunate that I do not have any fees that I'm like still paying off from that.
I am
and
so in
college was so fun for me, because like I didn't have to stress about that.
And free.
Yep, and free.
That's the name of the episode right here.
Yeah, fun and free.
Actually, that could be misconstrued, so we'll see.
But so sorry. So I got a bit sidetracked there, but you asked me what did I end up doing when I came over to the States?
Yeah.
So I went to New York first. So when I had left Ireland, I was working in a bridal store. I worked in a bridal store throughout college.
Sure.
Selling like wedding dresses, men's suits, stuff like that. So my uncle's partner worked in like formal wear.
Oh, cool.
So she is a designer. So I went to kind of work for her, work in her office in New Jersey, and I thought, oh, I'm going to live in New York. That was
sounds fancy, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was like, that's going to be me. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. I just kind of like nothing clicked for me. I think it was kind of because I was in New Jersey. And I also kind of knew that I still, like, the adventure wasn't over,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go on. So I went up to Boston and stayed with one of my uncles because I have a lot of family still in America. And I looked around and I was like, it's exactly the same as Ireland.
Oh, man. That's a good thing or bad thing?
Bad thing for me at the time because I was trying to see something new. Like,
right.
I was like...
I was just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. New chapter, new scenery, right?
Totally, right? I was like, I'm going to America, not like everyone's Irish, all the Irish bars, like,
Yeah.
So I left Boston, went to Chicago, had the best week of my life. Oh my God,
I love Chicago.
I think I cried on the plane on
Because
the
you were
way
leaving?
to California. Yeah. I had so much fun in Chicago that week. Like it was mental.
Yeah.
Can't even describe. But this woman had said to me in the bridal store, right? She was my coworker. She goes, if you are going to America, go to Santa Monica and go get a job at this famous British bar. And she told me it, right? And I was like, okay, like, so I go to America. I'll go to California.
Yeah.
I called a woman in California who was like my aunt's old friend. I didn't really know her.
Yeah.
I was like, someone we know. I'll call her. I'll go meet her for a drink. She ends up bringing me to this famous British bar. I'm sitting there. Now, keep in mind, I'm only on vacation in California. I'm only supposed to be there for like 2 weeks.
And then head back to Boston afterwards?
Or maybe I had a place to stay in Boston.
Sure.
I didn't know the next stop, but I knew, like, I had a flight that I was leaving.
Right.
And I go into this British bar, and I find out that it's the one that I was told to go to, and I was like,
oh,
what the hell?
man.
And the manager comes over, and he's talking to me, and he's like, are you on vacation, you know? And I go, well, I kind of like it here. Like, I'd like to stay. And he goes, come in to me in the morning, I'll give you a job. So I went on Craigslist. I ended up finding an apartment with 4 Irish guys. Like, we were all bailed into the apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Kind of similar to what my mom did.
Maybe that's
just
the most
a few less people.
Maybe it's the most comfortable way to live.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're used to it, right?
Right.
Bunk beds. I was in bunk beds till I was in my 30s.
Oh, these were like mattresses on the ground. Like, I don't think that house had ever been cleaned.
Oh no.
There was no like cutlery or like, you know what I mean? But we had a lot of fun. We went partying a lot, and I ended up working in this bar and waitressing and having so much fun, meeting loads of people, meeting a lot of British people who were from LA, which was really cool. And I think that's kind of how it helped. Like, I got my base there.
Yeah.
But after a few months, I was like, all right, I'm not being challenged. Like, I need something else. Like, I have a degree. I should go do something with it. Like, you know. But I wouldn't give up the waitressing because A, it was great money. B, I was partying every time I was at work. Like, it was just fun.
It's good community too, probably, right?
Yeah, they're it's like our little family. Like, I still hang out with all the people who work there. So I got a job it was like, it started as an internship for an event production company. And it was corporate events.
Okay.
No idea what I was getting myself in for, but I was like, oh, events sound fun.
Sure.
Right? So I started working there. On the first day that I had my interview, they called me and they said, can you come to Nashville on Sunday? And I was like, yes. Like, what? I couldn't believe it that someone like was offering me a flight to Nashville. Like, that to me is like the American dream, right?
Yeah, like they're paying for you to travel?
Yeah.
That's kind of flattering.
Yeah. And one of the things they asked me to do was walk Steve Forbes from his room to the stage.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was at like the Opryland Resort, so it's like massive. So I had to meet him. So I'm walking with him, like, and I was like, have I made it?
You could ask some people if that is having made it, and they would say yes.
Right.
And this is, how long were you in America at this point? Less than a year?
Yeah. I was probably like 8 months into the States.
You rose through the ranks, they say. Very, very quickly.
I mean, I was still just the intern, but it felt,
still, felt big.
Yeah.
Being in LA, and you're a waitress at a bar that serendipitously you kind of walk into and you get a job with. You got a good community there. What about the whole thing about being an actress, writer, being involved with Hollywood? Did you have any interest in that piece either? You know,
I did. We call it like speech and drama.
Uh-huh.
I did speech and dramas from like when I was 2.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like I was like a little theater kind of girl.
Oh, see, I'm glad I asked, because this means as a brand ambassador, you have a stage every night.
Yeah.
So
totally. And I didn't know. I think I kind of pictured myself maybe like being a host. Yeah. That was kind of one of those things. I was like, oh, I'd love to like host something. Like, I didn't know that I wanted to act and like take someone's personality. But I kind of like wanted to talk to people, like kind of do what you do. Like, I was like, that's cool. So I came over, but I kind of looked around, and there was beautiful girls and beautiful guys, and they were all like trained, and they were fighting for auditions. Because of course all my coworkers, waitresses, they were all actresses. And like so talented and amazing, but I would watch how hard they worked for it, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want it that much. You know, enough to be going to auditions
to hustle that much.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So I kind of like didn't pursue that. I was like, you know what? I like being creative. I was like, this event thing was kind of working out. It was a small company, so I was getting a lot of challenging kind of things thrown at me, and I got to work in like so many different roles. Like, started as an intern, but by the end I was production manager. I had done stage managing, logistics, talent hiring. Like, they call me the executive concierge on site because I used to meet all the speakers for the conference and the talent and the musicians and stuff, and I would kind of be like their handler for the week or whatever.
It's fun.
So I was just hanging out with all the cool people.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fun. I didn't really realize at the time that there was a real job where you do that every day, and I was eventually going to get it.
Is that the whiskey job? Because I love brand ambassador things, and we'll talk about the kind of the balance, because the balance is difficult. You know, you're traveling a lot, you're drinking a bit and all of that, but we'll talk about that in a second. But they came to you, you came to them. You seem like a great candidate, but how did the opportunity kind of come about?
Yeah, so I was bartending for the past 2.5 years in an Irish bar in LA.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Like, that was like another little family, still is. Like, I go there all the time.
Yeah.
So one of the coworkers of mine, he's from Kilkenny. His name's James. And he just turned around to me, and he actually said it a few months prior, and I kind of dismissed it. And then he said it to me again, kind of probably last year in about May. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you know, my friend Jane has the coolest job ever. And he goes, they are looking for someone. And he was like, you have to go for it. I really think that you'd be good at it.
Man.
And I was like, yeah, whatever. And he was like, just go onto the Facebook. It's like been posted, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, you know, and I just continued working. And I went home that night and I went on the Facebook, and then I went on like, you know, a tunnel of like all the different, I was like, what's an ambassador? What are these people doing? And then I'm finding all the ambassadors and I'm finding them on Instagram. And I was like, is this a thing? Like, what is this job?
Too good to be true.
Right?
Yeah.
So I called Jane. And I had met Jane.
Did you know Jane? Oh, you did. Okay.
I had met her like from a bartender perspective. Like, she had come into my bar. Obviously, she was Irish, so we chit chat and we talked about Tullamore Dew, and like, yeah, she seemed cool. I didn't like really get to know her, but I knew her enough to give her a call.
Yeah.
So I called her and I was like, hey, like, what do you think? You know, should I apply for this? And she was like, yeah, send me your resume. She talked me through it a little bit, and God, I think it was a pretty intense, like...
How many interviews did you have to go through?
I think I had 8 phone interviews.
8? Wow, okay.
I had to make a 2-minute video, like telling how I'm a good fit for the role, how I work for the brand.
But being a host in a way, right?
Totally. And I had that, like, you know, I was doing photography, so then I really wanted to bring that LA element to it. So I brought in some of my drone friends, and I was like pulling everybody together for this video.
Man.
And it worked because they called me and they were like, okay, we want to interview you in New York. So then you could fly out to New York. I did like a 20-minute presentation, and then like questions and answers. And then I was like biting my nails till I got the call.
Man, how long did it take? How long were you waiting by the phone?
I think they told me, oh God. Now, I think I did my interview kind of like on a Thursday. I think I had to wait all the way to the Monday.
Okay. So that's not too bad.
It was stressful.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
A bit of whiskey here and there.
Yeah. But I was in Ireland when they told me.
Oh, man.
Because I kind of just used that like path from New York to go at home for a little while.
Sure.
And so I'm in Ireland, they told me, and I was like, I know what I'm doing. Went to the bar, got some Tully, like, yeah. It was amazing, like, and the past few months have been a whirlwind. I can't believe I'm doing it.
I mean, and you're here. We get these cool green felt chairs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's something about this.
I brought these in especially.
oh, geez, I didn't even think about how emblematic they are.
Yeah.
This is perfect then. We got whiskey in front of us, got green chairs. But when I think about whiskey, again, in the States, people, culturally, we have a different relationship with alcohol. We're not good at moderation in the States. You can tell I was looking at people. Either we eat too much, eat too little, drink too much, drink too little. So for us, it's kind of a trigger when you talk about alcohol and stuff. But it seems like in Ireland, as a kid and having many other roommates, was whiskey a thing? Was it a common thread? Was it a common way to celebrate a regular occurrence?
You know...
You smirked some. Okay.
Whiskey wasn't. Like, I don't think... especially around my time, like we were not sipping on whiskey at the bar. We were drinking the like worst combinations. Like I think we just didn't know anything about drinking.
Sure.
And you know, they like in Ireland, they say there's a lot of stereotypes like that we drink a lot, you know?
It's true.
And I think that we can like hold our drink well, right? And some of us can't.
Sure.
But
Maddie is, for instance. I was kidding.
I never really like witnessed like my parents never drank at home.
No.
We don't really casually drink, or at least I didn't when I was there, and my friends didn't. Like casual drinking is not a thing in Ireland.
Interesting.
It was you drink to party.
I see. Oh.
Yeah. So like whiskey never really came into that because we're not sitting there sipping and talking, and you know, we're literally pounding like vodka Red Bulls. Like
this actually helps me understand the dynamic a little bit. You know, that makes a lot of sense. So when do you think you kind of came to terms with whiskey as this thing where, oh shit, this is pretty delicious? What, did you have a moment?
As soon as I started working at that bar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I think they just looked at me, and then they were like, she's Irish, she drinks whiskey. And they poured me shots of Irish whiskey. Sure. And they were like, let's do shots. You know, I'm not saying like day one. It's like, right. You know, after I was like in there and getting to know it. You're cool. Yeah, I was cool. Everybody was my friend. And they're like, want a drink? And they just pour me Irish whiskey. And I was like, I'm not drinking that. And they were like, what? And I was like, they're like, yeah, you're Irish, you're drinking it. And I was like, okay. You know?
Didn't take much convincing now, did it?
No, twist my arm. Like, you know, I'm up for whatever.
Yeah.
And I like immediately became interested in it. Yeah. Like, drinking it to party initially, right? Like, because it's a great drink for partying. But as a bartender, as a waitress, like there was so much interesting stuff to learn about whiskey that I was like, this is like one of the most interesting spirits on the shelf.
Absolutely.
And people didn't need any proof. They just assumed that I was an expert. So I'm bartending. They're like, you're Irish. What whiskey do you like? And I was like, damn, I better start having some answers up my sleeve, you know?
Right.
So I actually kind of always felt like I loved bartending, but my favorite times were kind of like in the afternoon when it's not like super busy and I'm just like slinging drinks and making cocktails. I like loved it when the guys would come in or the girls after work and they're just by themselves and they sit down and they'd be like, you know, they'd order their favorite whiskey,
sure.
Right? And it was like always my favorite thing to do to try to switch them. It was like a little game I played. I'd be like, oh, that's what you drink. I'd be like, do you want to try something else? Same price. And they're like, yeah. And they'd be like, I wouldn't have to tell them anything about it. I would just tell them my personal story of it. And like, I sold so much whiskey doing that.
How much does the Irish thing help you here?
It helps me every day with everything. Like, it is so nice to have people automatically like you.
Dude, it's like, I want that. How do you have a way to like a formula or anything? Any way I could sip that? I mean, we've got some whiskey, perhaps that's one way, but how do I get this? How do I get Irish?
I think you have to hang out with us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, because a lot of my friends in LA, like, because there's not a lot of Irish in California.
Really?
Oh, no.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I have a little core crew that, like, you know, is my Irish family, like, I'm like my sisters and brothers, but, like, my friends who are, like, born and raised California, like, sometimes they'll turn around to me and they'll be like, do you know that you've been talking for an hour and I don't know anything that you just said? And I'm like, why? Like,
I can't understand you?
Yeah.
This is, okay. You know what's strange? So yeah. At home the other night, I've been watching, have a strange fascination, and I think because I'm British at heart, and I think I'm one generation removed, but I watch British shows all the time. And people from Liverpool speak a particular way. People from Wales, it's a whole fucking other travesty, right? But I've listened to it enough now where I watched Bohemian Rhapsody the other night, and I could understand.
Love it.
It was a lovely movie.
It was so good.
Super moving for me.
And I just like have all those songs now that I want to like I just want to play the hits,
dude,
and dance around my room.
Radio Gaga, their Live Aid performance, that was a remarkable thing. But nonetheless, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she speaks fluent Spanish. Now I can't. I can't.
My boyfriend speaks fluent Spanish.
See, it's a nice blend, right? So I understood the movie.
Yeah.
But I can't understand the stand-up comedy special that she put on where this guy's speaking Spanish. So it's like, if you stick around long enough and you hear it, it's just these patterns that come about, you know? And so I don't ever have a hard time understanding Irish folks. I don't know why.
Totally, yeah. But have you like hung out with people who are from different parts of Ireland?
Like just a few different parts, yeah, but not a lot of.
Okay, because the accent varies dramatically.
Sure.
Like you just described, like the Welsh, the Liverpool accent, like that's what we have. Like think of the north of Ireland, the south of Ireland, Cork.
Yeah.
That is a strong accent.
Love Cork. Yeah. It's a very interesting one. I find if you don't listen intently, you get it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like half paying attention, and then it's like, oh, okay, got it.
And they always like end their sentences like on the top, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like a lull to it.
Yeah.
And everything ends high pitched. And I'm like, as soon as someone opens their mouth, like in Ireland, like we know exactly where you're from.
Yeah.
As soon as you start talking, I'm like, Belfast? You know, like,
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a guy at the airport the other day, and he was like, I think he said like, excuse me, so he could get his bag.
Right.
And I was like, Derry? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I was just in Donegal, you know, chatting away with him. Like, yeah, the Irish accent is an interesting thing. And, you know, it doesn't just vary from county to county. Like, people who live, so I'm from Dublin, right?
Yeah.
And I'm from the north side. The north and the south side accents are dramatically
Even
different.
in Dublin itself.
Yeah, but not only that. From Swords to, like, the next town over.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Man.
I'd be like, you know, like we all kind of slag each other, like, and it's all very territorial. So,
Sure.
like, someone opens their mouth and I'm like, oh, you know where he's from. I don't want to say any places, like, because they'll kill me.
I'm
Not
sure,
thinking
you know,
places.
the accent doesn't differ much between Austin and San Antonio. So we're all Texans.
Right.
And people can't tell I'm from Texas, which is good. I've spent years. But when I first moved from the Midwest to Texas, I would say pop, which we say
For
Coke
soda?
here. Yeah. That's just kind of how it is. And I would never say y'all. I wouldn't dare it. I would
I
never
kinda
say
say
fix
y'all.
it. Well, it's just the economy of language.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I would never have said it. And then people could tell it's from the Midwest. But ultimately, it's not nearly as vibrant and diverse as it is in England and in Ireland, you know.
But I do love the Texas accent. Like, I heard a few people, you know, like when someone just talks to you like a cowboy or something.
Oh, I
I'm
can
like,
emulate it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, now I'm in Texas. Like, I'm walking
man.
around last night, and you know, everybody's dressed kind of normal, and then someone just comes like dressed all slick
Sure.
with their cowboy hat and their waistcoat and their belt and everything, and I'm like, that's the outfit I want to wear.
Man, it takes a lot of bollocks to fucking wear that outfit.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we're by this window and I see kind of the foot traffic behind you.
Okay.
And it's a little bit sunny and beautiful out. There have been no less than 10 people with cowboy hats. So I suspect something else is going on because I know plenty of people in the cocktail industry. I don't know anybody that really wears a cowboy hat that often. So there's something happening. There's a convention or something going on.
I think I want to be the ambassador that wears a cowboy hat.
That's a brilliant branding aspect.
I am like obsessed with country music, the country vibes of
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm like a stagecoach, like every year. Like I just went for fun one year, and I remember like ripping it out of the country songs
Oh
because
my
like
gosh.
it's so easy to like. I'm good at like learning songs, and
Yeah.
I would know the song by like the first line because it's the same line. You know, it's like my jeans, my boots, my car, and my beer
And my whiskey.
And I'm like, I could write this song. But then I just started having so much fun, and I was like, you know what? I love this music. Like, I love these parties.
I don't know how to describe the look on my face right now, but it is of perplexion.
Yeah.
I'm slightly perplexed. Well, it's been long enough. We've had these glasses of Tully in front of us, nicely aerating while
Yes.
we've been talking. And I want to talk about Irish whiskey because for me, I think it is one of the most malleable whiskeys that you have. And Tully, especially, the one that I particularly like, they had the cider cask finish, which I thought was brilliant because it was the only time that the apples really could come through. Even in some apple brandies, it doesn't. So tell me some, I know some of the fundamentals about Irish whiskey, but tell me some of the fundamentals of what makes an Irish whiskey as I pick up my first Tully in the morning.
Get your glass. Cheers. So an Irish whiskey, there's a few rules, right?
Yeah.
Has to be made in Ireland.
Ah, shit, that's right.
And has to be
Sorry.
has to be matured for 3 years in Ireland, right? Or
Okay.
3 years or more. So the same kind of rules apply to Scotch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But theirs are matured for 3 years, right? As well. And so their rule is 3 years exactly it has to be matured. That's like the law. And with Irish, we were like, well, what if, on the first day of maturing, we put the whiskey into the barrel in the nighttime, and on the last day we took it out in the morning. So just in case we want to make sure it's in there for 3 years, we do 3 years on one day.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, we just have to beat the Scots like a little bit, you know?
Well, good. You should.
Yeah, obviously, right?
Obviously.
So that's kind of like the core rules of what make an Irish whiskey, but then there's just so much other complex elements, and Tullamore Dew, I think, kind of encompasses all of them into one, because it's the only Irish whiskey that's made with all 3 types of Irish whiskey. So there's 3 types made in Ireland.
Yeah.
There's malt, grain, and pot still.
Mm-hmm.
And Tullamore Dew blends them all perfectly.
Sure.
To be a blend of all 3, a triple blended Irish whiskey. So it's what makes us really unique. And what I think it makes us is distinctively Irish, right? Like, everything in there is 3 types of Irish whiskey. Like, there's no other types. That's all the whiskey.
That's all you can get.
Yeah.
Appreciate. That's it.
Yeah. So we put it all in there, and we also triple mature it in 3 different type of casks. So what you're probably hearing is a lot of 3s, right?
Sure.
Everything about Tullamore Dew is the power of 3. It's triple distilled, triple blended, and triple matured.
I like it. What I don't know that I've ever asked. Do you guys talk about the casks? Not specifically the brands, but the categories?
Yeah. So basically, we take, so you know the way bourbon barrels, like, they can only be used once. That's a rule of bourbon barrels, right? So we take bourbon barrels that have been used once, and we take them over to Ireland. So that's one of the barrels that we'll mature in. Mm-hmm. And then the second barrel will be like an ex-Irish whiskey, so previously had Irish whiskey in it, right? And then the third one, like, can be all different types, but for original, it's a sherry cask, right? So we could import that one too.
You know, I didn't realize the third one was a sherry cask.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's what kind of gets you those, like, fruity, tropical...
Dude, I was just going to say, it's like, there's some kind of, like, tropical, even, like, a crisp apple thing going on that I had. And I hear that your palate's the best in the morning. I know it's 12:30, but I haven't eaten anything today.
No, me either.
It's like, I can really taste it.
Do you know what? I had an apple today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think I actually started the day right.
I think so. I had a cup of coffee. That's not good enough compared.
No, did you have any whiskey in it?
It was a little early. Now I can rectify the faults.
because that would have been a meal if you had your whiskey with it.
Well, good.
But
So
it's
then
weird that you
lunch is
mentioned-
great, right? The lunch is going good right now. So.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mention apple, because experts say that there's 17 aromas you can get from a whiskey, right?
Okay.
So when you nose a whiskey, like, it's so hard to pick out, like, the things that you can smell from it. You know, like, it's like, but one of the things that a lot of people say about Tully is green apple.
Yeah, not red apple, right? It's that crisp kind of
like
super
a Granny
acidic.
Smith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of smelling this. I tell you what, some people, there are certain whiskeys that they just ingest and they don't think about it. It's just chug, chug, chug.
Oh, yeah.
But to sit back with some Tully and, like, actually sip it,
yeah,
this is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's my favorite way to drink Tully is neat.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways to drink it. Like, it is very, works in so many different cocktails. Yeah. Like, it's great with a dash of soda water or tonic or whatever. But, like, me personally, I just enjoy drinking it neat.
Yeah.
Maybe a rock, but
really,
maybe not.
I'm all about this right now.
Isn't it delicious?
It's the best lunch I've had all week. So one of the things you guys have been particularly innovative about, or exploratory, I guess you could say. So you've had a Caribbean cask finish, which is really cool. The cider cask finish. Anything, I could look and do the research, but anything on the horizon that you guys are putting out that do more cask kind of
They're
treatments?
definitely working on stuff.
Cool.
Now, I don't know what's the next thing up my sleeve, but if you go to Tullamore, Kevin, our ambassador there, will take you around and kind of show you some of the projects, and he even lets you taste one of the whiskeys that they're making. So you put you draw. I don't know what that thing's called.
Thief? Is that what it is?
This called?
Well, that's what we call it. Wine thief. Is that the Anna? Anna doesn't know. She's looking. I think when you pull it out of a barrel, we call it a thief here.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
Right. And so that's really fun. He has all different types of barrels. So when you walk through the barrel room, you're looking at ones that are as tall as me, right? 5'8", and then you've got little baby barrels. So they're working on a lot of different things, but I don't know what the next thing is.
No,
they won't tell me.
Let's just say that it's going to be good, and I'm not trying to get you to expose any secrets. This is confidential, but I don't want that. But there are some other amazing expressions, such as the 12-year, which I really enjoy. How do you feel age really? How well do you feel that age works with Irish whiskey?
I think it adds something really interesting. One of the things that was kind of fascinating for me, I didn't really realize, but like, so we have our 12-year, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of like is really kind of like a rich one. Like it's kind of,
Sure is.
yeah, like I love it. It's got like those like wine, sherry, like toffee, dried fruits. Like I love the flavors of the 12-year. Like it's probably after original 12-year comes next for me.
Sure.
But I found out that 15-year-old is 12-year-old for 3 more years, but finished in rum casks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Is
so
the
it's
15 available?
yeah,
It's like out and easy to get.
it's called Trilogy. Like we kind of
okay.
like we call it Trilogy or 15-year-old.
Sure.
It's, you know, it is
Trilogy gives it some drama, though, some
it's all about
gravitas.
those threes.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
But when I found that out, I was like, wow. So 15-year-old tastes really different to 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But it's the same liquid, but for 3 more years, finished in rum, right, for like a few months, rum casks. So that to me shows that a few more years can really change a whiskey. And also, obviously, like 70% of the flavor comes from the barrel, right? So it's so interesting to me what age can do. And then obviously there's our 14 and 18 year, but they're single malts, which is really interesting for us because everything that we do is a triple blend.
So to kind of isolate it out
them,
like
right?
that, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, one of the things I think is particularly positive in this category is that it's rising. And I never saw it coming because Irish whiskey once was very, very prominent in terms of an economic status for Ireland.
It was the most popular spirit in the world.
In the world, right? And then obviously some morality sets in or some, what's the word? Zealotness?
Yeah.
Some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Dogmatism. But now it's coming back. And why do you think people were particularly attracted and drawn to Irish whiskey?
I think it's really friendly. Like I told you, I wasn't a whiskey drinker, right? And I was introduced with Irish. And I think it's a great way to be introduced because after that, of course, like I started to enjoy different bourbons, scotches, whatever. I'm still kind of like my go-to will always be Irish whiskey. I enjoy it the most. But it definitely was like an avenue for me. And I think it's because it's really friendly. Most of them, like, there's nothing scary about Irish whiskey.
Right.
There's nothing, I don't want to say the word, like, I'm thinking like snobby, right? But like...
Yeah, there's a lack of pretension for sure.
Yeah, right?
It's a communal whiskey.
Yeah, it's like, come on, like, it's like the Irish. Like, welcome on in, like, let's have a drink.
Yeah, no, smell it first. It's none of that shit. Now,
No.
you would, but that scotch is
can.
stuffy. I love scotch, but it can be really stuffy.
Yeah.
Same thing with bourbon. There's no pretension at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think another reason is young people are getting much more interested in spirits.
Sure.
And, you know, especially like when you get over that initial hump, like, you know, back
What
when
you're
I was doing
talking
the
about.
vodka Red Bulls, right? When you get over that, you start getting interested. Like I was like, this is such an interesting spirit on the shelf.
Yeah.
And I think like these young people, young professionals are like, you know what, I want to enjoy something nice, but I don't want to break the bank. And that's why I think Irish whiskey comes in like as a great introductory for that.
I think so too. And again, the one thing that, and I'd see that it changes with some of the other marks you guys have. I'm a stickler for not drinking 80 proof stuff. This is a product of having years of being discerning and kind of developing your palate. So that's one of the things where, so I'm always excited, like the Phoenix, remember when that came out? Super high proof, but it's like, okay, finally I'm getting it all. Getting all that flavor,
Phoenix.
you know. So there's so much room to grow as well.
Yeah.
In the Irish, and I tell you, like, love Teeling too, and kind of what they're doing with the cask treatments. It's opened up many people's eyes to the category, and I think it's a much easier conversation for you now, right, when you're traveling.
I think it's like almost become like a reason to go to Ireland, like, right? Like people would go to Ireland for the drives and the landscape and like, you know, to go party and check out Irish pubs and everything. But it's like now you can go and tour all these amazing distilleries, like go to all the different counties, find out what's different, you know, about the whiskies in Donegal than the whiskies in Galway, and like
it's turning into a thing.
Yeah,
I love it. There's much like the accents,
yeah,
diversity in those flavors.
Yeah.
So you're here in San Antonio. Got a couple questions left for you. Again, these green chairs, all the stuff, serendipitous. Drinking some whiskey. You know, actually, I hadn't thought about this question, but you want to be a host, yeah? More than, but let's say you start a podcast.
Right.
Okay.
Thought about it.
You fancy yourself being someone who likes to talk to people and can carry on a conversation easily?
Yeah, I can talk to anybody. I am very interested in people. Like if we're in a room with 10 people, like I'm happy to be with the crew and everybody's dancing and shouting and everything, but I'm turning to my left or I'm turning to my right and I'm talking to the person beside me and I'm trying to get to know them a little bit more. And that's just kind of my thing. So I'm not always the loudest in the room, but you probably talked to me and I pulled something from our conversation that like I'm going to remember or you're going to remember. And that's kind of been my thing. I have friends that range all different age brackets. Like I find everybody interesting.
Yeah.
Like I love talking to like, you know, older people and like you told me you're going to talk to, who are you talking to tomorrow?
Ron Cooper.
Yeah. And I'm like that, like the stories you're going to get out of him, like stories is really what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Right? And nothing better than stories and whiskey. So I think I should start a podcast, and it's like, I don't know what I'm going to call it, but it's
fun and free. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like whiskey chats, like, because all I really want to do is have the chats.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's why I was drawn to the host thing. I like talking to people. I like getting people's story, a little bit like you.
Yeah.
Pulling it out of them and finding what they're interested in and what makes them unique.
Well, and this is the thing is like, I know you got more press to do today. You got something actually here in about half an hour. And I'm like, I'm glad it was the first one.
Yeah.
Because this should be pretty easy. Talking to people isn't hard.
Yeah.
It's hard if you got an agenda, and it's hard if you don't really want to know who they are. But ultimately, it's a very, very easy thing to do. So, for the rest of your stay here in San Antonio, what are you up to?
So we have a party tonight, which is like.
Oh, that's right. I'll see you there for sure.
Yeah. So all William Grant stuff's gonna be there. Tully's gonna be there. We have a William Grant party, and we've got Hendrix Orbium stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot going on.
Anna just pulled the whole, like, she tough guyed the hostess into putting people at another table just to protect it. She's fierce, man.
What a legend.
That was great. That helps me out so much. She has no idea. But the party tonight, of course.
Yeah, so basically, like, I'm like crap at itineraries. Yeah. So I just keep turning around to people and I'm like, what are we doing next? You know? And it's not because I'm like leaning on them. It's like, I've looked at the itinerary, haven't taken it in. I've never been to San Antonio. Yeah. So I don't know where I'm going. So I'm walking out the door and I'm like, which way are we going? And like, I'm with Jack and Jack's like, oh, this way, you know, dragging me over. But I'm just basically here to have fun. I got all my work done and wrapped up on Thursday. Yeah. So I could come to San Antonio and just party and have fun.
Killer.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing to do in San Antonio. All of the people.
And pulled loads of conversations with them.
Right. You just stand like in the thoroughfare here. And I ran into no less than 6 people just from my walk over here.
We tried to go to lunch yesterday. Yeah. And we were just walking. We walked from the lobby. We got stopped actually at the elevator, stopped in the lobby, went outside. I think we stopped 4 times on the road because whoever I was with knew someone. And then they got a hug and talk.
Yeah,
and like,
it's a lot of that.
I was starving by the time we got to lunch.
We're about 30 minutes late for lunch. Stop hugging. Let's get to lunch already. Jesus.
But it's really cool because I'm getting introduced to these amazing people. Yeah. I'm obviously not very well connected in the industry yet. So like I'm meeting the best of the best here in Texas. So
it's lovely to hear. So here is my last question for you and something I ask everybody. You've talked to a lot of people, and I'm sure you know what the question is because you told me you listened to a bunch of episodes or something, which is cool. Great. Thank you so much for that. Because you're like, what's he going to do? What is this going to be like?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was like, I got to do my research. And so I just listened to all the ambassadors, and I learned so much about them.
See, that's great. It's like a dossier on the ambassadors. You're here in San Antonio, and we're in this nice opulent room with the green chairs, and you can have a conversation and a sip of Tully Original with anybody, living or deceased. Now, this changes from time to time, so don't feel like it's the answer I'm going to hold you accountable for in 10 years, right? But who would you love to sit down and have a chat and a drink with?
Damn. You know what? I listened to the podcast the other day, and I was like, if he asked me that question, what would I say?
And you forgot.
No, I literally sat in my car. I was driving Hollywood, and I was like, what would I say?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of difficult because I don't have, like, these, like, people that, like right up my sleeve that I, like, idolize. But someone who I want to hang out with. So don't ever hold me to this, right? Because it's not really a conversation. It's more like I just want to hang out with this person.
Yeah.
Lucas Nelson.
I don't know Lucas. Tell me.
Willie Nelson's son.
Oh, right. Okay. And I think he lives around this general area. And I'm holding my wides arm.
Connect me.
Yeah?
So he wrote all the songs for A Star Is Born.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
he's like the lead guitarist in the back, right? Bradley Cooper took all his like mannerisms from Lucas Nelson, right?
I didn't know
I
that.
told you I'm mad into this country vibe.
I'm still perplexed.
Yeah.
But I'm opening up. I'm warming up to the concept.
Yeah, so I want to hang out with him. I don't know even if we need to converse, but I just want him to like play music and like drink whiskey with me. But I think if I was gonna have a conversation with someone that I could take back, and I would want to record, I would want your microphones,
right,
so I could record it and have it forever. It would probably be my granddad, who's the one who went over to America and got all this started.
Yeah.
And he's got more stories than any of us.
That's amazing. Did you say he was a World War II vet?
No, well,
Vietnam?
his father was.
Oh, that's right.
So my granddad, Huey, passed away a few years ago, and all he did was tell stories all the time.
Oh, man.
And I'd be like, when he'd start talking, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And now I'm like, oh,
I wish
do
if
anything.
only I could get,
So I actually am starting a little video that I'm doing with my Nana.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it her legacy video, my Nana Susie.
That's great.
And we're all going to ask her a few questions about her life. And I'm going to film it and put it together so that every single one of us remembers all those stories forever.
That perfectly encapsulates why I chat with anybody. Mm-hmm. This will always be in existence, whether we are or not.
God, I hope I didn't say anything wrong.
It's forged in history forever. No, it's fine. This is great. It was lovely to finally meet you. I can't wait to see what you're up to next. And obviously, you're part of a very, very great crew. Some amazing spirits mixed in. And then there's Mattias. So that's the third little taking the piss from us. But
he's going to love this.
I hope so. He's a lovely gent, in fact.
Love him.
Don, it's brilliant chatting with you. Thank you for sharing the whiskey, and I'll see you this evening for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll buy you some Tully.
Beautiful. Have a good one, yeah?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, there we have it. Donna Stewart, the most recent addition to the Tullamore Dew team. We've talked to many great folks in the Tullamore world, and it's good to see someone driven, someone that likes setting up events, someone that likes drinking whiskey is part of the team now. So great, Donna, to chat with you during the San Antonio Cocktail Conference. And again, St. Patrick's Day just happened. I am really in the mood for some Irish whiskey, and I hope you guys are too. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter how much cold brew coffee you can drink before you think you're going to die, or if you're thinking, man, just one drink with Martin Sheen, that's probably all I need, please keep dancing.